What's going on, everybody? This is Clark Beckham. You're watching the Idol Breakdown, Season 23. Let's get going. So first we have a half-episode that happened after the Oscars that, truth be told, I didn't really know about. So let's get started with the half-episode.
No, it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain.
Ugh. So, very first person of the season is going to be really hard for me to find someone else I like better in the whole season. I think I found my favorite and who I want to win, and I can't imagine anyone beating him. This is Sunny 10.
That's why I'm easy, yeah.
Wow.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
I actually know this guy. I've been a fan of him for a while. I know of him. We're not like homies. I've seen him on Instagram and TikTok, and he's blown up. He's done really well there. And he just has something about him it's not only that he sounds amazing, it's that he's so pleasant. He's smiling and his eyes are open while he's singing, and you can tell he's enjoying it. You're watching him enjoy the song that he's singing. And then you add the rasp and the tone, and he's a master of everything he's trying to do. On the guitar, the chords, the arrangement, the runs, the tone, everything. So it allows you to totally relax. You even see Carrie Underwood lean forward and do one of these. I think all of us did that, if not externally, internally. Because when you're that good, you allow the listener to totally relax. And that's the ultimate thing that we want. So I know it's early, but for me personally, he's going to be really hard to beat for my favorite. And I'm just going to put him there immediately. Thunderstorm.
Don't wanna lose you to find me. And I know you're tired of fighting.
This is another guy that I know. I've actually heard sing I did a show with a friend, and he was one of the other friends that was in that show. That sounded confusing. But what you see is what you get. As nice as he appears on screen, he is exactly the same off screen, which is typically the case, by the way. Lionel mentioned that we're looking for people to stand out and said that he stood out immediately like crazy. And I totally agree. It's not just that he's good. Being good is a part of the equation, but it's not everything. I loved how his eyes were open and engaging like Sunny's and looking straight at the judges. That is something that I am just now finding myself able to do. That is tough stuff. Eyes open, just looking right at a person in their eyes and singing this song to them. And what a song. I Don't Want to Lose You to Find Me. I wrote that down before Carrie said it, but my goodness. I bet he really likes Johnny Swim band, Abner and Amanda. He sounds like Abner to me, which is a great compliment. Amanda, not from Johnny Swim, but from American Idol.
And this is a man's
I know her too. I know of her. I haven't really talked to her and met her before like I have Thunderstorm, but she does this crazy funky cover of Defying Gravity that I actually did a reaction video to.
It's time to try defying gravity.
So I know how monstrous she is, and let me just try to explain to you why she's so good and why she affects us the way that she does. Every note is cared for so deeply that comes out of her mouth, especially in her runs. She has the chops to do whatever run she wants, but why it hits us so hard is the way that she caresses each note and cares for each note as it comes out. And that leads to perfect pitch, just rock solid, sharp intervals in those runs. And then she means everything she's doing. It comes from a place of feeling, not from a place of insecurity, not from a place of, ooh, this will be good if I do this. She just dives all the way in to the glory of the goodness of runs and R&B and soul and vowel shaping in her tone, and just falls in love with the song. And we watch her do that. We watch her relish in that glory, and she's got the tools to just make it her personal habitat, and it is a joy to watch. They just start out with heavy hitters. If all three of these people were in the top 10, I'd be glued to my screen every Sunday to watch. So we're in good shape. Now we have a break, we have a week, and now we have the first episode, and they start with another monster, Colby from Tulsa. My family's from Tulsa, so I'm already biased toward her. And then she starts to sing.
So I think I'm just about over being your girlfriend.
There are some singers that when they start to sing, it's like, oh, look, someone who has infinite talent. Someone who can do everything and anything incredibly well. This, again, was not just a presentation of skill, but of passion. And if the passion isn't there, no one really cares. You can be impressed, but the heart will remain untouched. Not with Colby. You're feeling what she's doing. And the notes that she picks out of the air, too. They're not just these pentatonic scales that are, pentatonic is, hey, just those bum, 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 bum. That's just real standard pentatonic stuff. She's doing like really complex scales and picking out really wild notes that you would hear Kim Burrell or Jasmine Sullivan do. And it's almost like jazz improv. Stuff like, stuff that's not just right down the center lane, but is connected to the crazy chords that are being played, which is really a beautiful marriage. And it's hard to do. And she does it effortlessly, is what it looks like. Brandon Nix sings Jesus Take the Wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hands, 'cause I can't do this on my own.
Talks about her weight loss journey, which I love. I think we don't talk about that enough. That's kind of a taboo subject that people kind of stay away from. And it's a tough situation. But the fact that she's just out front, she's like, yeah, I was overweight and I wasn't happy about it. And I lost a lot of weight, had a weight loss journey, had a kid. Love that. Her performance, when she started to sing the verse, I was like, why did they spend so much time on her story? And usually they do that only for people that go far. And I'm like, is this the voice that goes far on this show that I'm hearing? Then she hit the chorus, and then it was life-giving. It was huge and powerful and top class. I was like, that's why. Got it. This is actually really common. And I work with students, and this is a lot on this. Is a very common oversight that singers have, myself included, is we have the favorite part of the song. So she picked Jesus Take the Wheel because of the chorus. And the verses were just a vehicle to get to the chorus. But instead of doing it like that, where we're just looking at our watch and waiting for the verse to be done so that we can hear the chorus or we can sing the chorus, find the value in the verse and make the verse your favorite part of the song, even if it's not. And she can do it. She just has to focus on that. And Lionel agreed with me. Lionel's been spot on in this first episode and a half. Joey.
I'm falling again. I'm falling again.
Sounds like a star. We don't see much of him. Sounds awesome. Sounds like Dermot Kennedy, I think is the song. I think that's the artist who he's covering here. Definitely, you can tell it's kind of taking it from him. But then he like almost faints, kind of. Like gets sick, looks super duper pale, and is really nervous and has to stop. He goes through because he's great. The nerves, they will get better. I remember when I auditioned actually in Nashville, like same building and everything that he was auditioning and a lot of these guys are auditioning in. And I remember feeling fine. And then had my guitar. I'm excited. I've been hanging out in the hall where everyone hangs out and waits for their turn to audition. And I walk and I sit in like the holding, like, okay, now you're really about to go in. All right, they're ready for you. And I walk in, I see the judges, I see the camera, I see the logo, and I go, oh crap. And nerves just flood my being, and it was hard to talk. It was hard to think about anything. And I wasn't myself there. It was almost like a blackout moment. It got better during Hollywood Week, and it will get better. I just should say it better get better, because if it doesn't, you're in trouble. But those are the things you have to rise above, and it's real. Cruz Wright.
Well, they call me the fireman. That's my name.
Yes, sir. All right.
Making my rounds all over town, putting out old flame.
Good old country bumpkin, Cruz. 17 years old. He's got the country runs, those like Rascal Flat type of, like those little country, I don't know, accent growling, but really clean runs. He's got those. He's got a good voice. It's just a little much. The country attitude twang is just a little much for me. I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, actually like a suburb of Nashville, Tennessee, where I grew up. All the guys in my school were like Cruz, just Southern, good old, God-fearing, hunting, wonderful human beings. But the accent and the come on now, well, come on, well, all right now, come on now, Luke, come on, well, that it's like, all right, bro, Let's just talk straightforward. And like I just said with Joey, there's a lot of nerves there. He's trying to put on the charm and show himself, which is his responsibility to show who he really is. And there's charm there. It was just a lot for me. And maybe that's not how he is all the time. You know, with the lights and everything and the nerves, maybe it cranked that up a bit. But it was hard for me to continue to watch. I didn't mind him singing. You know, I'm not a big country guy myself, but I still enjoyed him singing and think he's really good. But well, come on now. Well, butter my biscuits and call me roasted. I just can't. I don't know. Butter my what? Isaiah, Samoan Silk, which is the coolest nickname ever.
I treated you unkindly, but darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me.
Another guy who has really good vocal control, vocal ability and skills are at a very high level, doing runs and such. If you've noticed, and I've talked about this before, American Idol season to season talent level swings like a pendulum. One season there will be a lot of really touching stories and the talent level will be lower as far as skill goes. And then they get complaints about that. And the next season, they're like, all right, let's find all the best singers in the world. And the next season, monster singers everywhere. And then they're like, yeah, but maybe we need more like emotional connection. And, you know, it's not all about skill, which I agree. Let's find those, you know, diamonds in the rough. And then the next season is like full of emotional connection and stories and everyone's crying. But then you get to the top 12 and it's like not a ton of just star-studded talent to get really excited about. This season is the full of talent season, it seems to be, which is exciting because I like good singers and you probably do too. This is a really good singer. He has slight pitch issues here and there, some gorgeous moments. I think 90, maybe 80% of his runs were really heartfelt and I really enjoyed them. And then some of them were look what I can do runs, which you have to be so careful. And I myself have been guilty. I'm still guilty of doing look what I can do things, which is the counterfeit of the gift of music. The gift of music is emotional connection and being moved, and the counterfeit is being impressed. He dips his toe a little too much into the let me impress you instead of let me move you. But he has the juice. Like he's got gorgeous moments and he's got the talent for it. Did you guys notice the commercials throughout this episode? Just constant prescription things. I know this is not what we're here to talk about, but one was about, we'll talk about weight loss. One was about weight loss. And it's like, by the way, it's like, this will help your cravings. You have cravings? I get it. Take this and it'll help those cravings go away. By the way, you might have suicidal thoughts. What? Suicidal thoughts? What does that have to do with my diet? What does that have to do with my weight, my cravings? What are you messing with to make my cravings go away that might also make suicidal thoughts pop up? And I know they have to say all of the side effects there, but why? Why are we talking about depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts when we're talking about something that helps your cravings? Guys, there's a better way. You can just eat better. And I say just, and it makes it sound like I'm oversimplifying. I understand that the information out there is really complicated. We talked earlier about weight. I had weight issues myself, and I found my weight loss journey, and it was not through a pill. I actually made a weight loss program that I've been selling. It's actually been doing really well. That shows people the simple way to lose weight so they don't have to get uber confused and have to change their lifestyle rapidly. You can eat forever like this. This is not one of those little diet fads where you lose weight in a month and then after you just gain it all back. This is how you eat forever. I have never had such control of my weight in my life until I found out how fat actually gets stored and weight works. And just don't take pills, dude. Just don't take pills. Do it right. Okay, back to Idol. Insight. Insight sings Freak on a Leash. Carrie Underwood knows all the words. That's actually pretty wild to me, that she knows the words to all these songs. The country stuff, I'm like, yeah, I get it. She's a country singer, loves country, grew up singing country and listening to it. Cool. But then Korn, she knows all the words to. On all these other rock songs, I'm like, what in the world? He goes through. Now, I guess this is what's going to happen. And I hate saying this. He'll get out first round in Hollywood Week and he will sing something and he'll be fine. And they'll connect with him again. They'll be like, look, here's the rocker, the Freak on a Leash guy. And guess it didn't work out this time. And then he'll go home. I usually get upset when I feel like they're letting people through that they know aren't going to make it because there are only a certain amount of spots. There aren't necessarily a certain amount of spots at this point. There's not as tight of a limit on people who go to Hollywood. It can be a round number. It doesn't have to be exact from what I understand. So I'm okay with it. It's going to be a great experience for him. I mean, the friendships you make, flying out, getting ready, singing Hollywood Week, like it's unbelievable. But I was a little surprised that he went through. I think it was just because they're like, well, we like him, and this Carrie Underwood knew all the words, so let's just see what happens and say yes and put a button on this moment. Bailey Luttrell.
The devil's on my shoulder as I try to brush him by. I know what he wants from me. And
if anyone's gonna compete with Sonny for my favorite spot, the spot that is my favorite contestant, it will be him. I thought he was mesmerizing. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. When he was singing, I believed him. Had his eyes open, was connecting, which is huge. I loved his tone was startling. When he started to sing, it was, oh my goodness. Carrie even like turned immediately to Luke, like, oh.
Shoulder as I try to brush him by.
Just the note that came out of his mouth. And he didn't do a run, he didn't do a high note. It was just the sound of his voice, just the tone itself was startlingly good. And it comes from his speaking voice. I actually talk about this in the vocal foundations and class that I do, and a lot of people don't understand, like, if you have a nice speaking voice, which we almost all do if we really just softly speak and focus on it, all we need to do is access that part of our voice. I call it a vocal detox. Speech level, speech tone based singing, and he does this and it feels awesome. I think this guy could totally be a superstar, and I mean superstar as in commercial success, as in like Benson Boone. I think he could absolutely explode. And there's something to it that his dad was a big star, because when you're around it and you grow up around it, the lies that we tell ourselves, the walls that we put up that say stardom is unobtainable, aren't there for people like him, because he sees it. My dad did it and I can do it too. And a lot of times that's the only thing that keeps us from success. Pat.
You don't need it anymore.
I thought he had a great personality. You really rooted for him. Was connecting well. I thought his tone was a little too harsh. The little game show thing they did was cool, but they just asked Carrie her own questions about her. Of course, she's gonna know these things, and the only question that wasn't about Carrie, he had like boom. So I wish that would have been a little more fair. Che or Chi.
Oh, keep me in your mirror.
Tons of sincerity behind his voice. I really loved his singing and his tone and his runs. He sang a Madison Ward song, beautiful song. Second time I think it's been done on the show, and just kind of like Sonny just makes you totally relax. You're in good hands and you can just let him do his thing that he does so well. Gabby Simone.
You're the key to my peace of mind, and darling, you make me feel.
I feel like I know who that is before the show started. She has a really big following on Instagram, and maybe I've seen her, but that name is just a famous name, which is great. Similar kind of thing with her as the contestant that's saying Jesus Take the Wheel. The verses were like, okay, it's a little her tone was a little shallow. There's just wasn't a lot of depth and richness there. And then it came into the chorus and then she came alive. This might have been a case of just trying to get to the chorus and not really falling in love with the verse and like making sure you milk the verse too. It also could have been due to nerves. Lionel said it was due to nerves, and he was like, in the beginning it was just okay, but then you really got to it. That's how I feel. It could have been both too. She's got a ton of range, great technique way up there, and was singing one of the greatest songs of all time. I feel like she could get lost if she's not careful in the gigantic collection of monster singers that I feel like we're going to have for this season. She's got to do something to separate herself, and that thing is usually connection and really milking every second of the song. And I know she's capable of that. Ian Ward.
I want to know what love is. I know you can show me.
The Broadway rocker. big, powerful, emotional voice. I really loved this audition. Had a vein popping out of his neck. He might need just a little more support from the gut, from the diaphragm, instead of really pushing right here. Cover that in vocal foundations as well. You actually have to, like, your gas pedal is your stomach, your abs, and your diaphragm. Your diaphragm, when you exhale, actually just relaxes. Your abs are the muscles that push that air out. That's where all the effort needs to be. This needs to be ideally relaxed. Now, there's going to be some effort at times in your neck, and maybe just that little effort is what was causing that vein to pop out. But it's better when that vein doesn't quite pop out so much, because it also makes us feel more relaxed when you look relaxed. And on the other hand, he was singing in the freaking stratosphere. And then Luke tried and failed. I was like, okay, Luke, he's actually going to try it. Luke has some pipes, actually, and couldn't quite get there. It was way, way up there. Abby Bowen.
Turn down the lights, turn down the bed, turn down these voices.
Turns around, has sunglasses on. That is not okay. It's cute. Is it endearing? Yeah. But it's like, all right, let's be professional here. We're here to sing in front of people. And she might have been, probably was, almost certainly was, encouraged by producers. Like, yeah. Like, maybe she mentioned it or joked about it. Like, oh, I wish I could just turn around. And producers might be like, that'd actually be really interesting. Do that. And so they might have encouraged her, like, turn around, put your sunglasses on, close your eyes. But in general, it's like, no. And Carrie said, like, all right, that's done. That was cute. No more of that. No sunglasses. And she said, like, I'm going to leave my sunglasses at home. But she's got a good voice. Her vowel shifting was nice. That brings so much to tone. You can use that vowel shifting in different ways. Like, A can move to E really well. Talk about that in my singing runs course. And you can do some really simple basic stuff. But if you just shift that vowel just right and add vibrato and kind of move the tone to the back of your mouth, it can be really sweet. And that's exactly what she does here. And I think that's what draws us in to her voice. I'm looking forward to seeing how she does, eyes open, flat-footed, facing the judges, facing the camera, and going for it. I'm afraid she could be an early exit too, with a great story. It's totally up to her, though, I think. I really think it's how strong can she be and just get up there and go for it, and how much it's like, okay, it's just not time yet. We'll find out. And then last we have Slater.
That crooked smile made people talk, you know, about the boy whose eyes flickered like the light before it goes.
First thing I noticed, which was a good sign, was his guitar was perfectly in tune. I cannot tell you how many people start to play and their guitar is not out of tune, and that tells me something immediately about them. Not always, but most of the time it means there's a small lack of musical awareness, of musicality, of professionalism, of let's get everything sounding just right. And that effort and that principle, when you hold that, everything comes from there. And his guitar was perfectly in tune. So immediately I was like, all right, I bet he's gonna do really well here. Sings the poem that his teacher wrote about her son that had died, Carter. My goodness. Sometimes when people talk about how American Idol just looks for the story and it's like, let's all cry together, it can be said as if it's like a cheap way to make engaging television. The goal of art, whether it's music or painting or literature, is to emotionally connect. And the reward of emotional connection is feeling like we're not alone and feeling like we're together and we understand each other. And that's where love comes from too. The way that they set this up with respecting Carter and telling the story and then having him sing and having his teacher out there. Did it make engaging television? Absolutely. Why did it make engaging television? Because that's what we all want, is emotional connection and empathy. And boy, did we get it. Such a beautiful, beautiful poem. And the words, something like, sometimes I see you in shadows that I can't reach. Golly, I wish that she said something more poetic than this, but it was like, I wish that love itself could be strong enough to just bring you back. And if you've ever lost someone, it's like, there it is. That's on the money. He sang really well. I'm really curious to see how he does with other songs, because a lot of the value of this audition, as it should be, was the emotional connection you got with the story. So I'll be interested to see how he connects and if he can keep that going with covers, with, I'm not sure what style of song he would sing, but a Harry Styles song or a country song or a Ray Charles song. Can he keep that connection there? We'll find out. All the courses that I mentioned, the run course, even the fat loss course, the vocal foundation stuff that I produce and sell, all those links are in the description. The post breakdown live stream. If you're watching this as a premiere, which means you tuned in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central, you can jump over to the live stream that will be right after this concludes. There will be a link for you to click and jump on there. Live streams are a little different this season for me this year. So everyone is welcome to attend. The only people who can ask questions that I will answer are members of the Groove Crew, the membership option to this channel, and then super chats. If you're not a member, you don't want to commit to $10 a month, then you can just send a super chat, which is like giving a little money to ask a specific question, and then I'll answer that. Remember, over all things, it is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst fails while daring greatly. I'll see you guys next week.